Daith da, Eobi Nakan. Welcome to podcast number 126. So I hope you're well. I'm managing to record this on the Thursday, which is a booty. So at least I won't be so stressed tomorrow. I know I've been saying that, we have been busy. I did look back, and January that have just finished was actually the busiest month that we've ever had. So it does explain now quite how I've been so stressed kind of thing. I mean, what that does mean is that later on in the year, we're going to have a very quiet spell because over the year, it always seems to even out. Now, the thing is, a lot of the industries, businesses down here in Cornwall is based on tourism. So people know, right, we're going to be flat out from May till September. But winter time, we can be quiet. Perhaps we can have a few weeks away or do something like that. With our profession, didn't quite like that. You're going to be quiet now at some stage, but obviously it's so random, you don't know when it's going to be. But I say we have been busy. It's been another varied week. We started last Saturday, since I spoke to you last. And that was for Peter's funeral down at Padstow. Now, when I talk about funerals that we've conducted in the past week or whatever, I don't usually mention surnames, but I will in this case because it was out in the public domain. It was in the newspaper, I think, and also definitely on our Facebook website. But Peter's surname was one of the most Cornish surnames you can ever get, which is Curnow. Well, 'tis spelt different to Curnow, as we say the Cornish for Cornwall, but you can't get much Cornish than that, can you? Much more Cornish than that. And they've also got their own tartan, which is brilliant, because we've got a few Cornish tartans here, like the National, the Hunton, the St. Piran tartan, etc. But the Curnows have actually got their own tartan as well. And I tell you what, 'twas a fantastic sight in Padstow Church on Saturday, because you had all the tartans there, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. And, we feel for Angela and all the family, Peter's wife. I've known Angela since I was a young boy. We keep talking about this story when we meet. I was at the boys' school, which I've spoke about before, and Angela's mother was our teacher at the time, and Angela come down, she was doing teacher training. And I was never really into school plays or nothing like that. But I did take a shine to Angela. I mean, she was about 10 years older than me, I thought. And because of that, I got involved with the school play that year, which was all about the Wombles, which I'm showing my age now, like all Orinoco and Great Uncle Bulgaria and that. But yes, I've known her all this time. But like I say, I'm sure Peter would have loved it to see all that tartan there in church on Saturday. I would say, as far as funerals go for this week, it had been shared up mainly between services at Glyn Valley and services at our chapel here in our funeral home. And a couple of them, they've also gone for the wake afterwards, because we've got the function room upstairs. So, that does work quite well. And I know that obviously we had Roger's funeral there, and also the day before Michael's funeral as well. And, it did work very well. I always feel it's a lovely, relaxed atmosphere in our chapel, I must admit. And then today we was down Tresswithian. And I know we were there, I think, last week. We don't go down there much. 'Tis down Camborne, so 'tis a brave way away, really. But 'tis a lovely setting. I must do a video and perhaps take some photos just to show anyone that's up this end of the duchy what 'tis like, because 'tis quite an impressive place, really, and it's got a lovely window looking over the countryside too. But so that's been me week, really. So apart from that, I don't think I got much else to say. I know that when we moved into our Methodist church, we put in planning and we got it and we started the building. Well, I say we've been in there 9 years now, I think. So it did take 3 or 4 years from when we said we would buy it from the Methodist to when we moved in. And the original idea was, as well as converting the chapel into our funeral home, the Sunday school rooms at the back, we was going to turn into a 3-bedroom flat. And of course, you might have heard, I did do a podcast on when we bought a church. You can look back through all the old ones, you can find it. And we did go over budget, twice actually, we did go over budget. But because of that, it meant that we didn't have enough money to convert the Sunday school rooms into the flat. So earlier last year, we thought, right, now 'tis time. So builders started, or I would say summertime. I can't think now. Time goes so quick. I don't know. But anyway, they finished this week. So at last, the Sunday school rooms is converted, and Daisy and Jamie have moved in there, and everything's proper. So that's the project pretty much finished now for the chapel. There is one other thing we can do, which we did have penciled in at the time, but obviously the money, it kind of, because of the budget, we didn't do it. But if needs be in the future, we can put a massive room over the garage, because the garage at the minute, we've got the 2 hearses and the 2 limousines, but over them, there is some scope that we could put an upstairs, which was always penciled in, which would give us more space, for anything in the future. But that's that project done anyway. So now 'tis thinking about the next project. Right. Well, now I think we'll go over to Phil Tremain, for part 2 of his interview. And again, as I always do, I mean, everybody's so kind, the comments that I get about the people I interview. And Phil is no exception. And I've had some lovely comments, and some lovely people said things about it was brilliant, that talking about St. Column. I mean, some people from away didn't have a clue what hurling was. So 'tis brilliant just to keep that alive and to spread the word and everything. And this interview this week, again, is very interesting. Phil takes a walk up memory lane, or should I say up the main street of St. Column, and just recalls some of the old shops and the buildings that was there when he was growing up. Because like we said, basically he's pretty much lived all of his life in St. Column, apart from a month or 2 when he tried out university, went up on missionary work. But apart from that, he lived all his life in St. Column. So I know you'll love it. And it's actually different this week as well, because Phil will actually do my Cornish dialect or saying for the week. So I'll leave that to Phil directly as well. And then I'll try and come up with a Cornish word too. So that's it for now. I'll hand over to Phil, and then I'll speak to you again directly. So here it is. And I suppose one big change that you would have noticed was the bypass for St. Column.
Yeah. The bypass opened in 1977.
77, yeah.
Prior to that, on a Saturday morning, as with Joybringer, I guess, the traffic going through the street was block solid.
Yeah, because it is one way in some parts of the street, isn't it? Yeah.
Although perhaps cars are smaller than they are now.
Yes.
But yeah, the bypass opened then, and that made a big difference.
Yeah. And shops and that around, because a lot of shops like Wadebridge, you're getting empty shops, like kind of thing. The bypass made quite a difference, didn't it?
Well, I'm not so much sure it was the bypass or just people's habits. Everybody became more mobile, had cars, so they could go somewhere where there was more choice.
Yeah.
So they went off to Truro, and there was a lot of trade in Truro. You now go to Truro and find lots of empty shops.
Yeah, true.
Because people do their shopping online, and there were lots of shops in St. Column. 2 or 3 men's outfitters, 2, 3 butchers.
Do you want to run through some of the names?
Well, I could do, I could try and run down the main street, starting up the top. So there was the Ironmongers, which is still there, Glanville's. That was run by Reg Searle. Right. And then you came down the street, passing the pump, where the road narrows in. There was a shoe shop there by a little old lady called Flossie Parsons.
Right.
And she was quite short, and she had a stick, and if she had the shoes that you wanted up at the top on, if she'd hitch the stick up and whip the box out and then catch it. And then going on down the street, there was the Lobbs, which was a grocer's. and then further down again to where Edivine Printers now is. That was Tom's the Butcher's.
Right.
They made gorgeous hog's pudding.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure I'm missing some, but going further on down again, there was Stan Haynes at a grocer's shop. And then we get down further past the Red Lion. Then there was Ellery's Butcher's Shop, which is now the Butcher's Bistro,
right,
since Richard Ellery retired. There were, of course, there were two banks, and now they're on down.
Yeah, no.
Where do we go from there? Tommy Rogers had a butcher's there, which is now Morris's and run by Ken and David Wilton.
Right.
There was another Gents Outfitters, and then there was Peter Trethewey up the street opposite Lobbs. That was another Gents Outfitters. And the Co-op, Julian's, which was the newsagent and an off-licence. At different times, some of these shops have changed hands.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
There was another grocer shop going down Bank Street that was run by Dick May, who was the town crier and won the National Town Criers competition back in possibly the 30s, I'm not sure. There was the fish and chip shop, which is still there, used to be run by Les and Gladys Hodge for many years.
Yeah.
Coming back up again, there was Powell's Garage on the street front, where you had the petrol pumps on the street front. And then going through into Union Square, there's the Chemist, which again is still there, but used to be run by a chap called John Nichols.
Right.
And there was Bryant's, the Outfitters, which was a men's and a ladies' outfitters run by Les Bryant and Miriam Bryant. They had their shop there. And the two political clubs, the Liberal Club and the Conservative Club, which were right adjacent to one another and seemed to be frequented by an awful lot of people going from one end to the other. I think it's much to do with politics. It's more to do with the price of the beer. And then Walkie's the Grocer's Shop, which was next door to Walkie's the Ironmonger's, which my father ran. So Kathleen Pokerhorn, she had a wool shop the other side of my dad's shop.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, yes, a tremendous amount of businesses.
Yeah, definitely.
But then times were different. People weren't mobile as they used to be. No. And, St. Column was an important place when it was a market town, when you had to drive your cattle to market along the road, rather than put them in a lorry and take them to, well, not Truro, Somerset or somewhere like that. And it just affects the trade,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So there was a St. Column Bank.
Right.
Which was...
Good grief.
That's...
Because a lot of the buildings are very impressive, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're really big. And was there a railway line there?
No, the railway's at St. Column Road.
That's the closest.
That's the closest.
Yeah.
Now, I think there is a suggestion that the St. Column decided, the people that ran the town at the time decided they didn't want the dirty old railway. I don't know whether that's true or not, but it obviously affected the trade, the not having the railway. But there used to be a bus that ran from the pub at the top of the town, which is now known as the Silver Bull, used to be known as the Railway and Commercial.
All right.
And there was a bus service that ran between there and St. Column Road.
Yeah, I see.
So that people could come in and out to the railway station.
Yeah. So when did you and Denise get married then?
You put me on the spot there, David. We got married in 1983.
Yeah.
April 1983.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wadebridge maid?
Wadebridge maid, yeah. But I married a bridge maid.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got married here in St. Column because we were both ringing the bells and singing in the church choir.
Yes.
So we were married here. Wadebridge maid.
Yeah.
And, that was 1983. So...
So you've always lived St. Column then since you've been married, or no?
Yeah, no, we've always lived in St. Column since we were married.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, we've lived in this house for 37, 38 years. So...
long time.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to try and move now, especially when you look at what's in the roof.
And then the children come along?
Yeah, the children come along. Vicky in 87 and Ben in 89. And then when my Dennis and Barbara Hill were my in-laws, as they got later in life, we moved them over here to St. Column. So that, well, we moved them. They moved over here, and they were living just up the road. So that was handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And both children now moved away?
Yeah. Vicky's in Brighton, where she went to university, stayed in Brighton. And in fact, Denise is there with her at the moment, because we got a 2.5-year-old grandson. And Ben's in London. Yeah. Ben went to Exeter University, and he's now in London working, doing data analysis in somewhere for Sony PlayStation, I think, on a contract.
Yeah.
So we get to see them quite often.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. And of course, I see a lot in church.
Yes.
So how did that come about then?
Well, taking funerals, as you say. Well, I'm what the Church of England calls a lay minister these days, or a lay reader, is the sort of old-fashioned name for it, which is something that I've done for 20 or more than 20 years now. And it involves a certain amount of training, but I think it was a realization that as the churches get clustered together, and the incumbent, or the rector, has more and more to do, they need more help to do it. And also, I think because I've lived in St. Column all my life, and a lot of people know me, it's nice to be able to help them when there's a bereavement. Definitely. So when my friends' parents pass away, or sadly some people of my age, it's a privilege to be able to help and support the families at that time. And
it's a comfort, isn't it, to them and the family? Definitely.
It is. I also take Sunday services, some here at St. Column and in some of the other churches. I'm taking a service at St. Evalds on Sunday evening this week, which is another of our services.
Is it a lot of training then to do it?
Yeah, it's quite an intense training course. Yeah. But it was something. It's changed over the years. But But yes, it's not just something that you can pick up.
No.
And of course, when there was a Methodist church in St. Column, which there isn't any longer, but my mother was the steward, and when they on their plan, if they had a gap and I was free, then I'd go and take a service there, which was lovely. And I used to call that doing a term for mother. And of course, I think the first time I took a service there, there were several of the people who'd known me since I was a child, and two ladies afterwards speaking outside. One of them said, "He didn't tell a bad yarn, did he?" And the other one said, "No, but see, he's one of us, really," which I thought was priceless.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's good. Because it is a big cluster, isn't it? All the churches.
Yes. We've now got 5 churches in our cluster.
Yeah.
Yeah, in our benefice. But,
yeah. Because it's like the cemetery. You've got 2 lovely chapel buildings there in the cemetery, and I think was one Church of England and one Methodist.
When it was done like that, one was Church of England and the other one was Free Church.
Yeah. So did they have services in there then, or what?
No, they have done, and they did. Yeah. And we do. I've taken services that have been, but now it's all together, and you use one or other of the chapels. It's not. Yeah. That's right. Not one for one and one for the other.
No, I can remember we've done a few, because you have to take your own music system, don't you? Yeah. It's battery powered.
There's no power.
No electric.
There's no power. No. It's bloody freezing. But So
with St. Column, I mean, it was a thriving town, and it had its own cattle market as well, which was at the top of town.
Yeah, it was, and on Mondays, which was market day, I know my dad's shop always used to shut for lunch apart from Mondays. Closed for an hour for lunch, and Father would go home so he could have lunch and have a kip for 2 minutes. But on a Monday, we kept the shop open because of the amount of extra business.
Really? Yeah.
And I think bearing in mind back then, licensing laws were much tighter than they are now, but all the pubs had an extension into the afternoon on a Monday so that they could stay open because it was cattle market day.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
One of the things I know Father used to say, thinking about hurling and the fact that it's important to St. Column people, he used to say when he was abroad in the RAF the only time he ever got homesick was Ireland Day.
Was it really?
And, well, not the only time.
No, but it brought it home.
Yeah, he would remember that what he was missing. You know?
That's right, yeah. And you didn't have a cinema or nothing?
Well, there was a cinema.
Oh, right.
But I'm not sure it's called this. I'm not sure how big it was. I mean, it was a bit of a flea pit, I think. Really.
Was it? Yeah.
And of course, we were the magistrates' court.
All right.
In the town hall.
All right.
Yeah, in what it is now the town hall, and was always referred to as the town hall.
Yeah, I see.
But there's a magistrates' court.
Yeah.
Which again reflects, how times have changed and how important St. Column was back then.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, thank you, Phil. I think we've covered quite a bit there tonight, really, I think. And before we go, I know there's a saying that you wanted to mention, which can be my saying for the week, I think, which would be good.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to... it's an expression which I've heard used and which I try and use, but I think we want to try and keep these things alive. And if we were playing a game or playing cards or something and I thought you were taking it too seriously, I might say to you, come on, look, Dave, we aren't playing for Carnanton. Aren't playing for Carnanton. Now, Carnanton, of course, is the big estate here, and they own quite a lot of property in St. Column and St. Morgan. I see, yeah. So, come on, don't take it too seriously. We aren't playing for Carnanton.
Brilliant. Right. Well, Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
If you'd like to say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, okay. Cheers, everybody.
Proper job. Cheers. Thank you, mate. Lovely. Cheers. Well, thank you, Phil. That was brilliant. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I do think I will be coming back to talk to Phil again in the future because he is just a youngster. And I know over the last 2 weeks, we were talking about things. We said about it after I finished the interview. He was talking about something, and then we kind of went off on a tangent, and we forgot to go back where we started from. And so I do think that I will be going back to have another yarn with Phil in the future. But thank you, mate. And thank you for the saying this week, which is brilliant. That saved me a job, I tell you. And Carnanton Estate, I have been there before, actually, and 'tis a beautiful house, and the grounds is handsome too. Really is, right at the top there of St. Morgan. But, thank you, mate, and I'm sure we'll see you soon. Now, for me Cornish word of the week, I think I'll do one this week. As you know, down here in Cornwall, we love our cream teas, jam and cream on splits. Jam always got to go first, obviously, and we love a bit of cake. I mean, as you would say, perhaps in other parts of the world, cake, but we flatten the A here and we say cake. So, like, if you've got people round for tea, cup of tea and jam cream, whatever, and you're asking them, do we want more cake? Instead of saying more cake in Cornish, you would say, Moi tesan? And that's Cornish if you're asking them more cake. So there we go. Right, well, I think that's enough for this week. I hope you have a good week. And I got somebody, hopefully, as long as we can coincide our diary sort of thing, that another booty interview next week. I must send in a text in a minute, actually. But, wish you well anyway. I'll speak to you next week. Do Guinness. Kerno Bisviken.